Peace and blessings. Welcome back to Unexplained Mysteries Tarot. I'm finally getting more natural at saying that. I was getting tripped up because I'm so used to Spiritual Love Tarot. But I'm back with part 2 of the mystical, magical decks in my collection that I feel like would lend really well for readings around mysteries and the supernatural, paranormal, all of that. Again, these are in no specific order, so I'll share the deck with you. Who created it, some of the cards, and kind of why I pulled it off my shelf. So first up is the Pleiadian Wisdom Oracle. This is by Pia Orlean and Cullen Baird Smith. This one I brought just because, one, the artwork is very otherworldly. It's very cosmic, and I thought it would be a really great addition to channel that cosmic energy or messages from other star systems. And look at the back of the card. I love the artwork on the back of the card. So it has keywords, like this one is healing and change. Remember, the only constant in the universe is change. You are always changing. So I feel like this can speak to energies maybe that have been at play, or just different topics and themes. This is purpose, source connection, because you are a divine spark of light. You always have a direct connection to source. I really just thought these would be really interesting. A lot of these cards look like portals to me, and I just think they're really beautiful and can just lend a little of that cosmic energy to a reading. So that is the Pleiadian Wisdom Oracle. A very gorgeous deck with beautiful messages also. Okay. Next is the Numinous Tarot. Some of these are really, oh my gosh, really dusty. I need to go through and dust. But first of all, this is a really beautiful deck. Those are the backs of the cards. Maybe I have too much light today, I don't know. But those are the backs of the cards. This is the Hermit. I love the artwork on these. Let's see, there's the World. And I just think it just adds a little dimension as far as like a tarot deck. It's very earthly, but also kind of otherworldly as well. There's the Death card. You can see she has 2 sets of eyes. Well, technically 3. The creator of vials. There's Awakening, which I think is really beautiful. It's a person coming out of a cave, and around them is kind of like a compass. So I thought that was beautiful. That would be like the Judgment card. Let's see if I can find some other ones. There's the 3 of Bells. And this one is 7 of Candles. So I thought this would be a good deck to include just because it is different. And it is also kind of a softer deck as well. Whereas some of the decks are kind of more like shadow based or a little more grotesque or just very unique. I thought this would lend a different element. There is the 5 of Vials. So yeah, I love the artwork. These are really nice cards. I love the linen, and they don't have that shiny reflection like other decks with the more glossy finish. But that is the Numinous Tarot by Cedar McLeod. A very beautiful, beautiful deck. And I love the colors in it too. My goodness, this thing is dusty. I just recently dusted, but I also burn a lot of incense and things like that. So, you know, stuff gets dusty. This baby is one of my favorites. This is the Dreams of Gaia Tarot. They also have a pocket edition that has come out more recently. The guidebook is full of amazing information. I chose this deck, and this is by Raven Phelan. And I have 2 of her the 2 oracle decks that she created as well. But I chose this deck because these are very cosmic, kind of otherworldly. That's the hero. Otherworldly cards. And there is healing. So this deck is structured a bit differently. Most of the majors are like renamed. So this kind of functions like an oracle, but you can see like there's different types of people that look more animal. And I just thought this would be really great to use for these types of readings because it is so unique and different, and it just kind of feels mystical and magical all in and of itself. So this is one of my favorites. I use this deck a lot, especially when I first got it, and the readings were always very potent, spot on, and super, super informative. Dun, dun, dun. So next up is Denise Lynn's Sacred Destiny Oracle. I like this deck. There's the backs of the cards because of the keywords, the imagery, just very clear messages. Like this card says going forward, and you just see a beautiful clear path. There's the sunset off in the distance, lush green fields, some hills, but overall it's just showing like good energy and an easy path ahead. And then we have happiness. You can see the 2 dolphins there. I love this card. This is healing chaos. You can see the tornado, but there's also butterflies around it. And we know how powerful and strong a tornado is. So the fact that these butterflies are able to move with it and around it without getting sucked in is just very powerful. And this one says openness. So I think this would lend good for reading energies and just getting information about landscapes or situations or changes and things like that. So I thought this would be a fun one to include as well. Next, I have another Sandra Ann Taylor deck. This is her Energy and Spirit Oracle. And I chose this one because energy and spirit, which are going to be a good majority of the readings that I'm doing. There's the back of the cards. What I like about this is that it's clear when there is a spirit present, and then it's clear when it's like an energy. So there are like archangel cards. This is Archangel Phanuel. Then there's another card, sensitivity and strength, that shows an anvil with a feather over top of it sitting on a trunk, a tree trunk. We have a shamanic healer. So it just gives a very good overview. Then we have up from the depth. I keep saying that I wasn't wanting to do like readings around people, but the more I go through these cards, the more it seems like as I'm looking at them, how it could be supportive as far as doing readings around people as well. So it's very interesting that as I do this, it's kind of like the cards are helping shape what I may or may not be doing. And another one here, we have Emotional Desert. So I love these cards because they're very clear, and then the images also add depth. I like her decks as well. She always comes out with really beautiful card decks. Next up is one of my absolute favorites. This deck is one that I use when I'm channeling, and it is the Connected and Free Alchemist Oracle by Inner Hue. I believe it's now available mass market on Amazon. So there is spiritual suffering, strength, masculine, it's kind of hard to see, endings, intuitive and psychic powers, it's an octopus, fear. I love this card so much. If you can see, there's the shoes right there, and then the shadow of the person is looks like it's underwater. So it's kind of like those like subconscious fears where the fear is drowning you out, you're not fully present. So I just thought that was beautiful. And there's also chakra cards included in this deck also. So this one I picked because I know it works really well for channeling. The messages are also very beautiful. I love the art that's feeling informed. So it shows different mushrooms. And it's one that I know really well, that I work with often. And I just know it would be really great for these types of reading, especially even just reading intuitively, the different insights and interpretations that I can get from looking at or reading those cards. Next is the Mystic Palette Tarot by Ciro Marchetti. This is the sepia deck, and I like these decks because I like the art. It's very kind of not whimsical, but almost surreal. It's just, it's like its own world, and the images provide like just so much that I can get lost in visually. Also, I like that the kind of sepia tone is kind of reminiscent of the past, which kind of makes it easier to connect in with past energies, in my opinion. So this deck I think is really good just because of the artwork. The art is beautiful. It really draws me in. And it just, like I said, it adds into like what I'm able to interpret from the card. Next up is another favorite. This is the Dragon Oracle by Diana Cooper. I love dragons. I love working with dragons. They're very talkative, and even just seeing just the picture of the dragon for me is really helpful and provides a lot of energy. So that's the royal blue and gold dragon. So I use this deck and it always brings in really great information. Dragons are also connected to different galaxies and they are mystical creatures. So I thought this would be a very fun deck to use in these types of readings also. Okay, Guardian Tarot. This deck was one that when I first saw it, I was like, yes, I want that deck. But then when I got it, it felt so ghastly and I didn't understand it, but I knew it came into my collection for a particular reason. So I just kind of sat with it, and then one day it all clicked for me. I really, really love this deck and think that it would be great at these types of readings because it does kind of have a ghastly and even like ancestral feel to it. So this is the Five of Swords. Let's see. Queen of Pentacles. There's the Nine of Cups. And you can see how the figure is kind of coming in from the sky, looking down over the earth. I just really feel like this deck is perfect for like supernatural and paranormal readings because it really gives that energy to me. And then there's the Wheel of Fortune. And I like it because in most of the cards, there are these kind of tree figures that are looking on. And I think it just gives a different perspective when reading with, and that's the High Priestess. So that is the Guardian Tarot by Beth Salonen. Next up are, I'll go with this one. The Sacred Forest Oracle by Denise Lynn. This one's a little dusty too. I like, oh, this one I edged. I edged this one black. Isn't that pretty? That's when I was doing a lot of deck mods. I may get back into that again too. So this is the Sacred Forest Oracle. And look at the back of the card. How beautiful is that? I chose this because, again, it kind of has that mystical, magical feel all in its own. It is very nature-based, which I think is really great and can just add in a little more grounding, which I think is important. There's Hummingbird Spirit, which represents joy. Enchanted Fern Grotto, Spirit Guardian of Winter. And I think especially for readings like about the earth, that these would be really, really interesting to see what comes up. There's the Stag Spirit, Ancient Oak Spirit, Bluebird Spirit, which represents happiness. I've been seeing a lot of bluebirds and blue jays lately. And there is the Maple Spirit. So it kind of taps into, like I said, the energy of the earth and just nature. And I thought these would be really good for exploring some of those curious and mysterious things about earth that may come up. The next deck is the Sacred Traveler Oracle, another deck by Denise Lynn. I really like her decks and her work. What I like about this is it kind of gives like signs and symbols. The artwork, super easy to like look at, finding sanctuary, journey by moonlight, rainbow blessings. So I like this because it can kind of be looked at like if you're traveling through a situation or a scenario, or if you're taking the perspective of a person and their journey, and this could provide insights on that. I do like this. There's unknown territory, but it's probably not one that I would go to often. I'd probably use it in specific instances where it felt more more aligned to work with it. But this deck was like, the intention was like to read into like the messages around us. So that's one of the reasons why I got it. And when I came across it, it was one that kind of jumped out to me also. Next is the Cosmic Visions Tarot. I adore this deck so much. I use this deck often when having conversations with different beings or frequencies, and it works so beautifully. So that is the Eight of Pentacles. I love that it is like black and white with these beautiful pops of color. There's the Two of Cups. It feels very cosmic, very much like its own. There's Ten of Pentacles, very much like its own energy. I love the backs of the cards as well. It just draws you in. There's so many different like symbols within the cards to explore and interpret, and I think it beautifully blends a little of the more like challenging imagery like this here with the Nine of Swords and the Ten of Swords, but there's just something about how those pops of color just really speak to me. And there is the Six of Swords. This deck feels like it is another dimension, if that makes sense. So yeah, and it reads so beautifully. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love the way that it really sparks my intuition. So that is why I chose the Cosmic Visions deck, and I'm by Jessica Shackleton. I was blanking on who created it. I believe this was one I found on Kickstarter too, but it's very beautiful. I love it. Next up is Talking to Heaven, and this is another one of those decks where I was like, okay, I think I may be diving into my mediumship bag here, because this deck really wanted to join. This is a Doreen Virtue and James Van Praagh deck, and just really clear messages. Like, first of all, look at the backs of the cards. Oh, can you see them? Okay, no, you cannot. It's like a stairway to heaven, just really beautiful. And then the messages are clear, like, I have become one of your guides. And you can see the hand reaching down to the person. So beautiful. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Oh, you guys, you have nothing to feel guilty about. It's not your fault. So like these are very beautiful messages. And I thought, yeah, this deck was one that was like, include me. So who knows what types of readings may come up, but if there is something that needs to be shared, then, you know, this would be a really great deck to do that. And I had a couple others, one that I shared before as well. So again, that was the Talking to Heaven deck. Okay, I'm down to the final 4. I'll go with this one first. So this is the Quantum Tarot by Kay Stopforth and Chris Butler. This deck is absolutely beautiful. I have not read with it yet, but it was one that I really wanted to use for these types of readings because the artwork is amazing. It definitely lends itself really well to like otherworldly, kind of outside of the box readings. That's the Fool. There's the Magician. Let's see if I can show some other cards. There's the Seven of Cups. And so it's embossed, and you can see there's like embossing on the cards. It may not be showing up well for you, but I really like that. And what I love about it is in a lot of the cards, there's like a figure that's interacting with the scene in some kind of way. And I feel like this would be really great for these types of readings. There is, oops, I'm about to drop them. The Four of Swords. I'm trying to keep this deck in order because I have not, like I said, I have not read with this. So yeah, this one is very cosmic and it is called the Quantum Tarot. So I do feel like it kind of helps you tap into energy and just really get deep messages from the cards. So I thought this would be a beautiful deck to use in these different readings. There's a Three of Pentacles. You can kind of see like satellites in the sky. This is an 80 card deck. And so there are 2 extra like majors. I don't know exactly what they are, but I'm assuming this is the Phoenix Rising because it shows a phoenix. And this one I'm not sure, but it has the infinity symbol, so I'm going to assume that it has something to do with infinity, and there's these different rings on the card as well. But since I'm in here and I got curious, I'm going to see what those 2 are. So yeah, okay, so that's why it's quantum, because it's about the outer space and then atoms, which is what we were seeing in the cards, which I think is really beautiful. And yeah, there's so much I could do with this deck. Yeah, so it's the universe and the phoenix. The universe is a higher vibration of the world. Your mind is ready to embrace the infinite. Can you exist in a world without limits? The phoenix is the Fool evolved, rising from the ashes, ready to begin his journey anew. This time the whole universe is his playground. What has been reborn in you? That's really beautiful. So you've got the universe, the world, and then it goes into the universe, which is the next evolution or vibration, right? It's more expansive. There's more freedom. And then I like how they connected the phoenix and the Fool. So so I'm definitely going to do separate video on this deck. So like the Ace of Wands is connected to Photon. And so each card, so those are the minors, are all assigned something, whether it's like the Ten of Wands is a neutron star, King of Wands, Jupiter, and so on. Then further in the guidebook, there's a lot more in-depth information. Like I said, I have not read with this deck, but I'm very curious. And I want to see, do they have any spreads in here? I don't think so. But yeah, I thought this was really unique. I have his Healing Light deck, which I'm going to share with you next. But like I said, I really loved the artwork and just that cosmic and quantum aspect of things. I feel like that will just provide a lot of amazing information in any reading. So since we're on Christopher Butler, this is the Healing Light Tarot. And I love his art. I think it's really beautiful. This was a deck that I really used a lot. There's the Sun. There's the Three of Cups. So you can see, again, it has that unique kind of otherworldly, energy-based deck. There's the Emperor. I love like the purple and gold because then that signifies like the regalness. The Queen of Wands. There's the Seven of Swords. So it's like you said, it's light. It's like the light body, or spirit as well. There's Two of Wands. So that's why I chose this deck, because of the artwork and the imagery. There's the Five of Pentacles. And those is what the backs of the cards look like. Yeah, I really like both of these decks. Like I said, the artwork just blows me away. And I really like the detailed nature of the guidebook. And the Healing Light as well, each of the minors have like a keyword associated with them. Like the Three of Swords is sorrow, 4, rest from strife, 5, defeat, so on and so forth. So very handy. Oh, I gotta put the rest of the cards back in the box. But yeah, I love the artwork in these decks. All right, we are down to our final two. This is the White Newman. And I picked this deck because it's based off of like ancient rituals and sacred animals. Don't know if I've read with this one yet. That is the back of the deck. I have not, because they're still in order. There's the Fool. There's the Magician. And again, like I feel like this deck is a universe all in itself. We've got the Five of Cups. So I think this would lend itself very well to the different readings. Also, Three of Pentacles. And I'm thinking with these types of readings, it would probably be really helpful to start with Oracle and then dive in with Tarot. Let's see, Seven of Swords. Are these back in order? Let me see. Yeah, there's some of these are still stuck together because I have not worked with it quite yet. And let's just show another card is the Wheel of Fortune. So yeah, that is the White Newman Tarot. This is a liminal 11 deck, and I like the creativity in the deck. I just thought the artwork was different, and it would give me a great reason to use this deck. Like I said, I have not read with it yet. It's just been sitting. So yeah, White Newman is a sacred animal tarot inspired by ancient rituals and stories of sacred animal spirits. It forms a path to human reconnection with the natural world and the spirit realm. So yeah, beautiful deck. And the final one is one that I really enjoyed working with. It is the Cosmic Slumber by Tilly Walden. And again, this is another liminal 11 deck. I like this deck so much. I really like the artwork on it. I think this would be great for dreams, not just because it's named Slumber, but just because the way the art is depicted. So there's the Ace of Torches. There's the Chariot. Again, it just feels like you're being pulled into another world. There is the Wheel of Fortune. And so I was looking for decks that were kind of unique, excuse me, unique and different. That's the Universe. And the Princess of Swords. So yeah, I really thought this was just an interesting deck and thought it would be fun to use. I think this deck would be really great for, like I said, dream readings, just because it's, I don't know, there's just something about it that's kind of not comical in a bad way, but just like, just intriguing and interesting and fun. So yeah, that was the Cosmic Slumber Tarot. I still have another row of decks to peruse and see which ones jump out at me. And then I have like the top shelf to go through as well. So I don't know if there will be 3 parts or 4 parts, but just stick around and I'm gonna continue just kind of seeing what decks call out to me and which ones I think would be really great at these mysterious and mystical, supernatural, and paranormal readings to share with you. And then once I do that, I'm going to work on a spread, or see if I can find a spread even, to like explore and just see like what comes up around me doing these types of readings and what I may find in the process. I will see you again soon. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know which of these decks that you liked, or if you have any suggestions on decks that maybe you've seen or you have in your collection. Let me know. All right, I'll see you again soon. Peace.